Well, good Saturday morning, and we're closing into the end of August. Pretty soon, the poor kids will be back to school in northern climes, to their little brainwashing centers. So I've come to do a book report or two. So I started reading those two books. So this is one of the books that I have. It's the Tavistock Institute, Socially Engineering the Masses, and it is by Daniel Estulin. And fantastic. So I've done a lot of research and looking into the Tavistock Institute. I mean, psychology, sociology were some of my favorite courses, but to see how they've been weaponized. So I'll kind of give you just a little from the introduction about what Tavistock is and how that should be important to you in your life, in all of our lives, to help us to understand where we are in history right now, that these are not random events that you're seeing around us. So it started in Sussex, England, back in like before the First World War. And it is the world center for mass brainwashing and social engineering activities. The method of brainwashing and psychological warfare being adapted then and now for application on large-scale social engineering projects. So think of them as one of the big think tanks behind it. And so what he says about this book, and I really like it, because I'm not going to give you information unless I give you kind of, you have to understand what's happening, but you also have to understand that we can fight against it once you know it. So he looks at this book, and I like it. The book is essentially an anti-brainwashing combat manual, because you are in a war. Brainwashing depends on the ignorance of the victim. It is all around us. Now, this fellow that wrote this, he's an award-winning investigative journalist. An actual journalist. He did the author of The True Story of the Bilderberg Group. They're quite a group. All your governments are part of that, you know. Shadow Masters, Deconstructing WikiLeaks, Trans Evolution, and the novel The Octopus Deception. So, as he said, that this is kind of like a combat manual on how to protect yourself from brainwashing, and I like that. So we live in a world, and we really do, and I always knew this, right? That how people act and are not really who they are, right? And what's going on in the world. I always questioned it since I was always the black sheep. People don't like you when you're the black sheep. In a world of smoke and mirrors, there are no flukes, no coincidences, and no accidents. It's all social engineered. All the dots connect, and they connect back to Tavistock. And before that, think of this as going on forever, since we've been here, about 200,000 years, right? And for whatever reason, this dark arts, because it is the dark art of mind control, of capturing your perception and understanding how you work in a mental conscious way, and taking that, right, and then programming you to be whatever they want you to be. And what he says, and I believe it too because I'm watching it unfold, it what's in the balance is the future of our planet, right? The immortality in the human race and the survival of our species, because they want to make post-human synthetic beings, right? So when you look around at what's happening in the world, it's not by accident. None of it isn't. It's all socially engineered, right? So it was involved during the Second World War. Of course, Operation Paperclip, all the those mad scientists that were doing really horrid things, were dispersed throughout North America to continue their work on psychological warfare, because we are in psychological warfare. And they've done little places, right? They've done little factions of society, but COVID was really taking all the information that they had, that they have synthesized, probably with AI, and then planning global takeover. And he says this too, and like, they look at us like enemies. These psychologists, sociologists, people that work in the human sciences and stuff like that. That it's just inevitable that they're at war with us. Like, that's just the way it is. To get complete domination and control over us. So he talks about how, this group that I've just said is the social scientists, psychologists, psychiatrists, anthropologists, think tanks, and foundations preside the elite of powerful members of the oligarchy, right? He says black nobility. We don't know. Black doesn't mean color either. It means a designation to some kind of secret society that these guys are in. And what they're actually, this transhumanist push is towards a post-industrial era that has zero growth and zero progress. So like a dark ages. And you can see the tactic because you're living in it. This constant crisis after crisis after crisis after crisis keeps person in low grade fight or flight. And so you're not in control. You're in that subconscious mind, right? They know how to use your psychology against you. They are masters at it. When I watch it and understand it, because I started studying these guys really a lot in 2020 when I saw what was going on and I understood what I was just at an intuitive level, right? And how angry it made me that the very professions that can make quality of life better for human beings are actually using it not to help with people's mental health, but to actually deconstruct the mind so that it can be reprogrammed as a machine. Right? The most brilliant, as he said, we are fighting a combined effort of some of the most brilliant people in history who scheme against us for the purpose of possessing us. Right? So we're really at a crossroads, as he said. So I've just started this. I'm in page 26. So I'll synthesize more information. And then the next one that I got, I've been listening a lot to this lady. I like her, Elena Freeland. So this is the Geo-Engineering Transhumanist, the hidden technologies of HARP, chemtrails, 5G, 6G, nanotechnology, synthetic biology, and the scientific effects to transform humanity. So I'll just read one little, I have just gotten into this, so I'm only on page 4. But you can go online, right? Elena's got different videos that you can watch. I like her. Arguably, so this is a person, who is it? Kingsley Dennis. He's from the UK, I like him. Author of The Struggle for the Mind. Arguably, one of the most important issues of our time is the encroaching transhumanist agenda to remake the world and humanity through strategies such as geoengineering, synthetic engineering. I know of no other book as deeply researched as this topic as the Geo-Engineered Transhuman. Freeland not only explores the deep state's attempt to achieve full spectrum dominance over the planet Earth, she also reveals the insidious attempt to hijack the trajectory of human our own evolution, because we are evolving. Luckily for us, Freeland comprehends the spiritual dimension of the forces that humanity is up against and offers the reader's way to meaningfully participate through the soul of consciousness. So, as I said, I ponder a lot. I do a lot of thinking. I am a hermit I'm not really. I go out. But I don't mind having time alone to think about and reflect on what's happening and try to raise my consciousness level, because this is how I see it. Now, what Elena gets into is that they've already weaponized the ionosphere. So that's the plasma field that surrounds this Earth. And there's also a resonant, the Schumann resonance, that we resonate with. And they're using energy weaponry that they have been working on for a very, very, very long time. Probably from technologies that are very old, actually. And that they keep being reintroduced again, and they have the same effect, a catastrophic effect, because they're playing with the threads of reality and the way that this world is made. So they own this ionosphere, which is electrons, neutrons, protons, ions, and subatomic particles. That the last book I just read about the science of heaven, there's much evidence that says that these fields of plasma are actually intelligent fields of energy, like a huge computer system, like the simulation. So these people, our governments have been funneling money into this forever, right? Have weaponized that sphere above us. That's why you get that sheet lightning, all the storms, all the weird storms, all of it is created to this weaponization, geoengineering, the killing of things. Oh, come on, Canada, right? I see shit and these poor creatures that have these growths and things on them. Where do you think that's coming from? Do you think maybe the air, the water, the ground, this shit is falling on? Right? And the nanotechnology that they're trying to get into everybody by destroying your immune systems so that your body won't launch an attack against these foreign objects that they're trying to install in you. This merging of man and machine, it's not a theory. Right? And this Skynet that surrounds us, this electrical grid, right, around the earth for constant tracking of us, right? And to stop, as Jason Christoff puts it, I love this because I like his work. I'm one of his, he's my mentor. I took his course. It's God's Wi-Fi. We're being shut off God's Wi-Fi, right? And another system is being overlaid, right? Which is basically the devil's Wi-Fi, if you want to look at that, the dark energy, right? You cannot look at AI and think that that is a good thing for the world. It could be used for good, but that's not, because the energy of the world, right? Because they're playing with your creative energy with social engineering, right? You are putting it out there. You are actually training AI in its darkness because they've actually got you working from that darkness through mind control, brainwashing, right? Propaganda. So that you create it because that's the field that we live in. So if you stay in low energy, and it's hard because I look at it, the grief that I feel, and that a lot of the people that live in Canada, I can't reach them. I can't, they don't want to listen to this. I mean, it is terrifying. I'm not terrified of it anymore. I'm not. I was when I first started reading about it a few years ago. But I'm not now because I know my own mind. Right? And, we're only ever 1 second away from death. We never know when we're going to die. So I figure I might as well go out having living my life the way that I want to live it, which is very quiet and research-based and trying to bring beauty out in the world, because we live in the Garden of Eden, right? But they're making you live in a fucking cesspool because they're bringing that aspect out of us. We all have it. I have the dark side. It can be triggered. Right? So hence why we need to know it, and hence why we need to be our best selves and try to give good energy out to the field because it responds to that. I'm not saying it's much easier to say that than to do it, right? And especially I need to know more and more. So I need to look at some of these things that are very dark, and they're not science fiction. They've been brought to you by science fiction. You've looked at it. You've been entrained by watching these things and being told that it's just, it's just fiction. No, it's not. It's not fiction, right? The world is not small. It's not simple, right? They've made it very complex, and they're really playing around with the energy of life. So once you start to see into that, right, you understand that you can raise your consciousness level. And it really comes with knowing self very well, being good to yourself, loving self, not in a narcissistic way, but in a way that you have gratitude for this wonderful human suit that you've been given, to come down here for this brief second of time, to be a part of whatever this is down here. What is this down here? Right? That's a question. We should really look at that, because it's not what we're all doing, right? Working ourselves to death, drinking ourselves to death, smoking ourselves, numbing ourselves from pain, not facing the pain, not looking at what's going on, running around like chickens with our heads cut off. That's not what it is. Or pleasuring ourselves to death. That isn't it either, right? We have to come together in unity to see what's happening in our world by facing it is what I say. So I'll keep bringing you my little book updates on this, sharing the... It's dark, but it's a reality that we have to look at so that we can create light, so that we don't get bamboozled. The only way to protect yourself from brainwashing is to know about brainwashing mind control, and that it has nothing to do, actually the easiest ones to mind control are usually the most educated. So it has nothing to do with education here, and it is not a judgment, right? And it will have you, if you don't look into it, and if you don't open your mind to it, mind control and brainwashing, it will have you walking off the end of a cliff, or as again Jason Christoph, you'll be rearranging the chairs on the deck of the Titanic as it's sinking, because they're going to try to make you unable to see what you're doing to yourself, right? These dark musicians, because that's what they are. These Travistock, they just make me sick, and I've watched it in psychiatry because I worked in it. Right? So it's not like I take this from reading. It's from the thousands of people I have talked to in my life. Thousands. Right? I've never seen medications cure a fucking soul. I have seen connections do it. A connection with somebody that somebody trusts, that they can share the story of who they are with. Hence why people are doing it with AI. It is a developmental need. Right? And it is being weaponized against you by you're giving all your data to a fucking machine. It's a fucking machine. Right? It's an awful smart machine. Does it have demonic energy in it? Yeah, but I believe it's our own energy of darkness that we are transmitting out there. This Wetiko energy, mind virus, right? We don't understand the nature of what we are. And until we understand a little bit, they're going to bamboozle us with our own subconscious ways of being. And we won't be able to see it. We'll think it's just our own idea. And that all these, if they keep you in left brain, which keeping you in fight or flight does, right? You can't connect the dots because the left side of the brain sees everything in little sort of, I saw it utilized very well. Think of a mirror that's smashed into many little pieces. You can't get the whole picture, right? Because it's all smashed. There's little nuggets of it where somebody coming more from a more coherent, both sides of the brain working, right, can see the dots. So as hard as it is, I try not to be upset. I try to feel compassion for people that are caught in this brainwashing loop because they are being manipulated from the ether by nefarious people that want to take everything that you are. Basically, they want to hollow you out, right? So that there's no humanity and no soul in you, and actually put in a synthetic soul. Basically connect you to another grid, the AI grid. So, knowledge is power, right? Not to get caught up in it is what it is. It's been going on forever. This is not new. It's just been going on behind the scenes. And I think that what happens is there's grids, old grids that have been put up around us. I actually listened to a guy, Michael Tillinger, from South Africa, speak about this in one of the books that he was writing, that there was an old grid and that it's breaking down, right? And the pyramids and some of these old structures, these power structures, had something to do with it, that a grid was built around the earth, a power grid of some sort, using the ether energies that are there in these plasma fields, or using plasma, right? And so that they're constructing a new one, because if not, we would escape. We would escape this sort of hell that they've put on earth, right? Everybody would start to see, and that there's many people that now are seeing. And so what they usually do when this happens is do a reset, and this is a reset. They even say it, the Great Reset, the Fourth Industrial Revolution will change you. They don't hide it. It's just that people have become apathetic and numb and don't see it. It's like the firewall. Can't see it, can't see it. So I hope people can see it, and live for the moment, live for now. Breathing's a good to keep you calmed down. Don't get caught up in the shit, and slow down on the toxic substances. It helps you to think clear. Okay, take care. That's my report for today from Panama.